Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to the Steve and Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast, ruining pro wrestling podcasting since 2014. Backlash is coming up this weekend. Of course, we're going to do our live watch along and our review right afterwards. So hopefully you join us for that. And of course, we did not do our Smackdown review on Friday. We are doing the Smackdown review here on Monday. Larson, I think I know the answer to this question. Any regrets on that? For the audio crowd, he's slowly and snarkily shaking his head back and forth. Zero is the answer. Zero. Not a lot really happened on SmackDown this week. I'm really looking forward to that 2-hour SmackDown coming back, as is the rumor out there.
No, Triple H talked about it. It's not just a rumor. Triple H talked about it.
I think that's a rumor started by you here at the show, Larson.
No, I could find the source. I could source it. It's from Triple H.
I don't think you ever sent me those links that I asked for.
I did. I'll go through my sent emails. I guarantee you it's there.
All right. Maybe later. Let's go ahead and talk about
right there
wrestling news, because before our SmackDown review, we have some wrestling news to discuss. So let's go ahead and first up talk about, of course, on Friday, there were some WWE releases, and we're going to talk about the latest on that.
Yeah.
So, Fightful and PW Insider broke the news late Friday afternoon that a number of main roster and NXT talents had been released. The names are Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Katana Chance, Caden Carter, Dakota Kai, Gallus, Jakara Jackson, Oro Mensah, Gigi Dolan, Cora Jade, Javier Bernal, Eddie Thorpe, Danny Palmer, and Riley Osborne. Additionally, Fightful Select reported that Shotzi was told by the company that her contract would not be renewed when it expired. Shotzi then tweeted that her WWE deal expires in July. So, first, let's pause there. Obviously, look, whenever anybody loses their job from any occupation, it's a bummer, because you don't like to see people then have to scramble and figure out, especially in the world of pro wrestling, where, depending on the brand that you were able to build for yourself while in the WWE umbrella might dictate how much you are worth on the open market. So, with that being said, out of these names, what are the more surprising ones in your estimation?
It doesn't happen very often to see someone get released, re-signed, and then released again. And in this case, is Braun, who was released years back because reportedly he was making too much money. Mm-hmm. More on that later as far as this release. And then Dakota Kai as well was released, I believe, and then brought back for the formation of Damage Control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's a bummer. You think you get a second chance at, probably fulfilling your dream of being a WWE superstar, and you think, well, I got released, I got brought back. It's good now. I'm gonna be here for a while, and it doesn't happen. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Shayna Baszler is a bit surprising in that I'm still, during her time in NXT, it seemed a certainty that she was going to be a major player in the women's division on main roster. Even when she got brought up, like she bit Becky Lynch in the neck.
Yeah.
And it seemed like she was poised to maybe win the championship at WrestleMania. It didn't happen. And while she had some tag title reigns, never really prominently featured in the main event of the women's division, regardless of what brand she was on. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah. I mean, you can look at, a large part of the roster, and I feel like a lot of these people have the talent necessary to succeed to the next level. I mean, you could take a look at, you can sort of break down a lot of these names and a lot of people who weren't released and say, okay, well, there are certain maybe, holes in their game, perhaps. Some people might not be a good a promo as others, in ring, et cetera, et cetera. And so, there isn't room for everybody. And not everybody can even work their way up to become like a depth guy, as we like to say, somebody who, gets some wins over, kind of enhancement talent type, and then goes on to lose to the bigger names. And not everybody can sort of be mainstays in enhancement. There's not a lot of actual enhancement talent anymore.
No, usually use local competitors for enhancement talent these days.
Right, exactly. And so you have to ask yourself, if you're not, put in a position to connect with the crowd, or if you're not doing that on your own naturally, we've talked about roster bloat for a while now. And that's the unfortunate reality for the people who are released is, when you look at, okay, so looking at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of these names out of the, is there 15 here? So
15 or 16.
Okay,
16,
so just like 6, 9 if you want to count Shotzi. We've talked about what they're doing in NXT with the women's division. I'm going to say bloated, but it's a loaded women's division in NXT. And with the idea that a great number of those are going to be going up to main roster, you got to ask yourself, where is the room going to be for that? And this is the result of that. So, Braun actually does surprise me simply because he has been used pretty effectively in his role just recently, for example, in helping to, not that Jacob Fatu needed credibility, but certainly on main roster to present Jacob Fatu as being the underdog physically. There's not a lot of people who you can use for that. And Braun, I thought, did a really good job being used in that role. Now, they have other people like Bronson Reed, for example, but besides Bronson Reed, there aren't a lot of them. I mean, unless they start actually using Omos, whose name is actually kind of surprising that he wasn't on the list, given that they're not using the guy at all.
Yeah.
Which might bode well for his near future. Maybe he'll take on the Braun role. I don't know.
Could be.
But you can see, for example, with Katana Chance and Caden Carter, to me, that they'd make for perfect sort of, if you want, enhancement talent, because they're so damn creative in the ring. And you would think that there would be like a need for people to be used in that manner, to like, hey, let's help make somebody else look really, really good.
Yeah.
Given how creative they are in the ring, but evidently that's not the case here.
Yeah, and especially in the women's tag division, where so often it's teams that are put together that'll either win the titles or compete for the titles.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Well, they've been a tag team for years.
Yeah.
Dating back to NXT. They're one of the few actual tag teams in that division that have been solidified as a tag team. Mm-hmm, and so, yeah, that was an interesting couple of names to be included on this list. Let's talk about potentially, and who knows what's behind this, the why as far as the releases. So Dave Meltzer on the latest, one of the more recent Wrestling Observer radios, talked about that. In the case of Braun Strowman, he said the following. These transcripts are from WrestlingNews.co. Quote, "He is the one that the salary was high. One person told me they felt he was paid more than how they were using him. I guess is the best way to put it. But salary played a part in this."
I mean, yeah, he's probably getting paid like a huge amount of money.
He's a former world champion. He probably got himself a pretty decent sized contract.
And he's also, as like Bruce Pritchard, like he's an attraction, like,
an establishment
not a lot of
that. Yeah.
Not a lot of Braun Strowmans out there of that size.
No. As for the NXT releases, what Meltzer had to say, again, these transcripts come to you from WrestlingNews.co. Quote, "Many of those cuts were perceived as not working hard in training, and if you don't work hard in training, there's so many people who do. And at this point, if the feeling is you're not working hard in training, I saw the term lazy. The ones who are lazy are going to be gone, and the ones who didn't stand out are going to be gone." So obviously we're not there. We're not the Performance Center.
I ain't touching that one.
Nope. Well, I'll say this. This is one thing I'll say. How often do we say, in terms of news getting out, that there can be an agenda behind it? Now, maybe, this is speculation, this is a situation where WWE is trying to deflect some of the blame for these cuts and putting this information out there that, there's lazy talents and therefore we cut them. So it absolves them of some measure of responsibility for people losing their jobs.
So I'll offer up two things here.
Mm-hmm.
I think number one, it's entirely possible that's true. Number two, it's entirely possible they're lazy people. It's entirely possible that people aren't putting in the work that other people are. It's unfortunate when a person like Dave Meltzer gets a hold of this information in whatever manner he does, that given that his words then carry a lot of weight.
Yes.
Because he puts it out there, and then you have the entirety of the internet wrestling community starting to try to pick and choose who's lazy and who works hard. And it's
but also it puts talents in a position where they feel a need to respond for fear of being labeled as lazy.
And if you're a future employer, you might look at this batch of people and be like, oh, it's the lazy crew. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I think that sounds, I don't know. Like, on one hand, I understand. And again, I understand we'll get comments, Dave Meltzer, grain of salt. And yeah, I think for a lot of things, Dave Meltzer, when it comes to his reporting over the last couple of years, there is always that sort of, well, he hasn't gotten everything right. There's a lot of things that he's sort of gotten wrong. And so, but I don't know how responsible it is to put out this and frame it this way.
Yeah.
I think the second point here is, I think there's something to that, and that's, we can all see that one is there are wrestlers who don't stand out in the way that they want them to stand out. It's the entertainment industry. It's the entertainment business, and it's just a sad fact of life that not everybody's going to make it through, and some people aren't going to stand out, and some people they look at and are like, you know what? Gave them a chance. It's not really working the way we want it, so we're going to let them go. We can't employ them anymore.
That's why I kind of thought there might have been something to it more than... Because if that's the case, there's a more diplomatic way of putting it, as opposed to labeling people as lazy. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
In, because we've heard that there is evaluation periods at the Performance Center, and after, however many days, months, whatever, they do an evaluation. If you're not to the point where they want you to be, then you're potentially up for release.
Yeah.
And so if someone wants to get word out, hey, some performers we thought weren't progressing at a rate that we were satisfied with, therefore, that seems like a more diplomatic way of putting it, as opposed to people aren't working hard and therefore are lazy. Again, we're not there. We don't know what's happening. But in terms of the wording of this being very blunt, that's just the first thing that popped in my head. They're trying to maybe push part of the blame elsewhere off them as the company WWE onto the wrestlers in this sense.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, that wouldn't be surprising either. But,
we're
not
there. We just don't know.
People can be, they can coast, Hey, I've done that before.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. It's probably, there's a variety of people released, probably for a variety of reasons. I doubt any of them are like, exactly the same. No. But it's a bummer, but hopefully, they'll all find, that the experience in WWE was a positive one, and they'll move on to success. That being said, Gigi Dolan did fire back at the Meltzer explanation, tweeting this out. When I wasn't traveling to work for either of the two companies I was working for, I trained very hard 3 to 4 days a week, bumping my ass off and doing cardio drills with one of the best/toughest coaches I've worked with, and worked out every single day with live events every other weekend. See, I don't want to hear this, lol. The way my body feels says otherwise, and Cora Jade responded to that tweet with this. Plus can't forget having to go to my own gym outside of work after quote-unquote strength and conditioning that wasn't doing anything for me other than getting me body shamed by my bosses, coworkers, and fans. Crazy. It's, it's an industry that is harsh, that is, has a reputation for not exactly being, kind to its employees, to be honest with you, oftentimes. So this isn't surprising that there's still an element of what could be considered toxicity within the company.
Yeah. And that's potential danger of Meltzer putting stuff out like he did. Because then, yes, it the broad label of, this group of people are the lazy, people from NXT, and then, Gigi and Cora have to tweet like, no, that's not the case.
Yeah,
in their instances at least. So I mean, it's hard enough to lose your job and then have to defend your work ethic. That's a bummer.
Yep. Absolutely. So best of wishes to those who were released.
Best of luck to all who were released. Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, we have, before we get on to our Smackdown review, we have a sponsor for the show this week. Let's go ahead and talk about them.
Let's do it. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's Mental Health Awareness Month, Steve. And while more and more people are realizing the importance of taking care of one's mental health, there's still progress to be made.
A recent survey found that 26% of Americans have avoided mental health support due to fear of judgment. When people hesitate to get the help they need, it just doesn't affect them. It can affect their friends, families, and their workplaces.
Yeah, that was definitely the case with me. My battles with severe anxiety definitely affected my relationship with my family and my friends. And thinking back on it now, one of the reasons I was probably slow to get treatment was because I was worried about being judged. But once I started therapy, I was able to learn the skills I needed to cope with my anxiety and get my life in a much healthier and happier place.
With over 10 years experience connecting people with the right therapist from their diverse network of more than 30,000 licensed therapists, BetterHelp makes therapy far more affordable and convenient because it's entirely online, and you can change therapists at any time with no additional cost.
We're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/raw to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
All right, moving on. I know you're excited about this, Larson. It looks like WWE might have, in fact, signed Alberto Del Rio. What is this? What is this? Well, let me fill you in, Larson, because I know you're super excited. You want the music back and the car entrance, all that stuff. So, over the past couple days, the internet wrestling community's exploded over the idea that WWE might have Alberto Del Rio back under their umbrella. Well, not so fast. Ernesto Ocampo, who
is the editor of
Super Luchas.
Super Lucha, yeah.
Said this on the Twitter. The fighters from AAA who already signed a contract with WWE are son of Dr. Wagner, the son of, Hijo del Dr. Wagner. I did the translate thing. Hijo del Vikingo, La Parca, La Hiedra, Lady Flammer, Lady Maravilla, Nino Ambreguisa, and Alberto Del Rio. Oh,
you remember how the song went?
So, sadly, Lucha Blog threw a little bit of cold water on this one, Larson. It said, to my knowledge, WWE did not give Alberto a contract. AAA signed Alberto to a contract when they decided to build a promotion around him for the last year. And WWE will assume that contract when they take over the company. I don't think decisions have been made past that. He continues, Ernesto knows a lot I don't know. But there are people on that list I previously specifically told to not have a contract, and there are people who I'm fairly certain are signed who are not on that list. It's also a deal that's 3 weeks old, and a lot still being figured out. Corey Hayes from Bodyslam.net said simply they didn't sign him. And in fact, the deal itself, according to Business Wire, will not even be complete until Q3 of this year, which is still a little ways off. And you would seem to think it makes sense that decisions regarding how they're going to approach the roster, who they're going to retain, et cetera, are probably not going to be decided until then.
Yeah, Ernesto had a follow-up to Lucha Blog's tweet. Says the AAA contracts are a joke. Any lawyer could invalidate them. WWE is offering contracts backed by TKO, and including many clauses that AAA's don't account for. The idea is to sign only around 10 to 12 wrestlers from AAA's current roster.
So that right there says to me that when he says AAA's contracts are a joke, any lawyer could invalidate them, I feel like at best it's probably a messy contractual situation. And maybe in order to offer up some sort of continuity between the pre-TKO era of Triple H and the post-TKO era of Triple H, they want to make sure that, like, for example, somebody doesn't walk into CMLL as AAA Mega Champion. Alberto El Patron,
Yeah.
So that's just my pure speculation. It sounds like there's a lot of speculation going on here as well.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling that nobody really knows exactly much of anything.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well, is given that it's going to take several more months for this deal to be finalized, there's probably a lot of the wrestlers who are just wondering if and where they're going to have a job in a few months, and hope that there might be some measure of security associated with WWE buying AAA, but they probably don't know.
It wouldn't shock me if what Ernesto here is saying about the contracts, if that's true, if TKO's lawyers are going through this deal and they're looking at these contracts and they're like, this is, it's like Tony Wilson's deal with Factory Records where it's just written on a napkin in blood.
Yeah.
And it basically says, you're free to leave whenever you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so if they're looking at these contracts and saying these are a mess, we need to replace them with like normal contracts because this is sort of that we need to make sure that this is in order properly.
Yeah.
That's a possibility.
It is. Even if it's a short-term thing until the conclusion of the acquisition, I would
find it extremely difficult to believe that we'll see Alberto Del Rio on WWE programming. Now, will they retain him in AAA? Here's the thing also. We have no idea what approach WWE is going to take to AAA.
Yeah, we don't know what measure of autonomy, the current executives in AAA are going to have.
Seemingly not a ton because Jeremy Borash is going to be involved
apparently,
in their creative.
It's part of the creative team, apparently.
But will he simply be kind of a bridge to make sure that what they're doing creatively aligns with what they want to do in the future with their talent? Or is he going to be going in there running the show? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Is he but a liaison between AAA and WWE in terms of some sort of synergy between the two brands creatively, or is he sitting at the head of the creative table kind of dictating how things are going to go? We don't know.
Something in between. We
don't know.
We have no idea.
Nope.
So yeah, difficult to I know you're not on Twitter much anymore at all, but it is a heavy conversation going down right now, and so I was like, okay, well let's go ahead and talk about this. Also, a heavy part of conversation before we get into our Smackdown review. I meant to send you this, but we have a proof of life update on Darby Allin, Larson.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
Did you actually see the video itself?
I didn't see the video, but courtesy of what a kickflip, I guess setting a world record probably for the highest in terms of elevation completed kickflip in the world. Yes, Darby is 20,000 plus feet up.
Almost 21,000 feet up. The summit is at 29,000, so he's merely 2/3 of the way up there. And it is wildly, the video is hilarious because you and I, when we were talking about him reaching the summit, doing a promo in his little cutoff jeans with the tights underneath.
Yeah.
And it does not look like he is wearing proper Mount Everest attire. He is basically wearing his normal skating attire. And he does his kickflip, looks like a badass, shows off the elevation on his elevation watch. Yeah. And I guess that's a new world record. Whether or not this is an official Guinness thing, I don't know. You like to think so. But yeah, I'm assuming he's the goal is to reach the summit.
Yeah.
And he'll cut a promo up there, maybe if you can even. I mean, I know they got those masks on and everything. Like, I don't know if you can even cut a promo up there. I don't know.
I don't know either. If not, maybe after they get to the summit and come back down, the nearest place they could do that would probably be where they would.
I feel like as long as you cut a bunch of B-roll and then like once he's achieved it, you come back down, you say something really cool, and then you can cut to B-roll of that, of him, hoisting the AEW.
Doing a kickflip at the summit. I don't know what.
Man, I don't know. I don't know. Is he able to carry a skateboard? It seems like really dicey situation getting up to the summit.
It does. It really does.
So I don't know what's even possible up there. Is there how much like level ground?
I don't know.
Is there, in my opinion, like in my thought, it's literally a tip, and you're
yeah, exactly. It's this very literal summit, the tip
right,
of the mountain. You got I don't know, 14 to 18 inches of space to maneuver, and everybody's got to take their turn standing at the summit and coming back down.
Yeah. We have a very cartoonish imagination, Larson.
Yeah.
Anyways, so congratulations, Darby Allin, for apparently setting a new world record for skater stuff.
Well, I don't know if this is legit, but there's literally a picture of somebody on if I do an image search of standing on what looks like about 36 inches of mountaintop.
Summit of Mount Everest. Let's take a look here.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, wow.
basically. We're not
Oh my
too far
God.
off, Steve.
Is
It's
this
more of
actually-
a ridge than just a point, but it's.
This is not. If this is actually like the summit, this is not a lot of space up there,
No kick flipping up there.
dude. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he might be able to write it down. I don't know. Jeez, that's not a lot.
No.
Okay, well, there you go then.
Wow.
Anyways, I figure they'd be like good 20 feet or so. It's so
Yeah.
big. It's so
No,
big.
not if you get a ridge.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, SmackDown happened. And there's going to be a SmackDown this week as well.
Yeah, that's usually what happens to SmackDown. There's one every week.
Before Backlash. Are we going to do? Well, I'm just. Are we going to do a thing? Are we going to do the SmackDown review after SmackDown this Friday?
No, we don't have to. If this week is any indication, I don't feel like it's necessary.
We have a number one contendership match for Tiffany Stratton's WWE Championship.
Yeah, it's going to be Nia versus Jade. Jade got the pin in the main event, pinning Nia. So it seems like it might be a situation where Naomi will cost Jade the match. Nia will face Tiffany at Backlash. So much of this episode of SmackDown was kind of filling out the card at Backlash. We found out who Jacob Fatu was facing. Got a general idea of who Tiffany could be facing.
Yeah.
Randy Orton came out and talked a lot, but said pretty much the same thing he said last week.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot there to Randy's promo.
No.
So right now we've got it's a 5-match card. No, it's a 6-match card.
Well, officially, it's only a 4-match card, according to Wikipedia. They got otherwise on WWE.com.
So, okay, right now on WWE.com, I've got the Fatal 4-Way for the U.S. title.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Gunther, Pat McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Lyra versus Becky. We've got
Mm-hmm.
Randy versus John. So that's 4.
Yeah.
And then we're getting Logan Paul versus Jey Uso. Or is that
That's right.
Has that been confirmed for Backlash?
Has not.
Or is that going to be Saturday night's main event? That could be Saturday night's main
That
event.
could be Saturday night's main event. Yeah.
And then, but they did confirm that the winner of the number one contender match next week is at Backlash. So
Yeah.
maybe Logan Paul versus Jey Uso will be 2 weeks later at Saturday night's
It's entirely
main event.
possible. That could be the main event of Saturday night's main event. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll find out tonight on Raw how that's
You'd
going to
think
go
so.
down because we're going
You'd
to.
think so. You'd think so. I mean, a lot of the kind of the B-level pay-per-views are 5-match cards, occasionally 6.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they got plans on keeping Pat versus Gunther pretty short, it still might be 6. It's a situation where Gunther goes out there and annihilates Pat in about 2 minutes. Then, we'll get a 6th match on the card.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would expect 5, but
I
who
would
knows?
think 5 is the norm.
Usually, yeah.
But like you said, usually, sometimes there's 6. Tiffany Stratton. We'll just go ahead and dive into it because it's a meat and potatoes episode.
Yeah.
It's not like nothing happened, but with no Cena, whenever like the main guy is taking the week off, and you're left with the opponent who's certainly going to lose. And that's in this case, Randy Orton's great. Don't get me wrong, but like we know he's going to lose.
Yeah.
And he just comes out and he cuts a promo. There's really no action going on.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like-
a promo where the content of it is not too dissimilar to what he said last week.
Right. Yeah. No story beats there. However, in the WWE Women's title scene, there was a big story beat. So Nia Jax comes down. She says, while I was gone and your champion was running around like a Barbie with her head cut off, I was at home getting refocused, regrouping, so I can come back and take what's mine. So Tiffany Stratton comes down, and she says, excuse me, it's my title. I'm not the same Tiffany you used to bully around. Cashing in was the greatest thing I ever did, and I'd do it again. Then I went toe-to-toe with one of the GOATs. Then I beat her. If we ever lock up again, I'd beat you too. And Nia's like, offering a rematch, are we? Tiffany says, no. You should know I don't make the matches, but I'm not shying away from a fight. I'd defend anytime, anywhere, any place. That brings out bad Naomi. She is awesome. Mm-hmm. She says, well, looky. It's funny to see you fighting because I remember for months trying to get that title from Nia. Tiffy, you always found a way to help her out. You two made my life hell, and you say you changed? Nah, I changed. I'm a new Naomi now, no longer the sweet good girl who stood behind Bianca and let Jade walk all over. I took matters in my own hand, took out Jade, and took my championship. She said, I'm not done going after gold. Not only will I push you into a car, I'm going to push you onto one. And
I thought she said I'll push you under one.
Oh, under one? I don't know. I'm just reading Chris
said.
Garrick's notes here. I'm like Ron Burgundy, man.
Or maybe it was in front of one. I'll push you in front of.
That sounds more likely, yeah. So
the
Jade
implication
comes down.
is that Tiffany would get run over.
She's going to throw in front. Is like a Rikishi. No, Rikishi was driving the car.
Yeah.
So Jade comes down looking like $1 million. Naomi rolls in the ring. Tiffany attacks Nia. Everybody starts brawling. And then Aldis comes out and says, since you're so eager for a fight, let's give Des Moines a tag team match player. Naomi and Nia versus Jade and Tiffany tonight. So later on, we have Naomi and Nia backstage. Nia says, I'm going to forget what you said out there. As long as you stay out of my way, we'll be good. Naomi just says, good. And then
later on, we got Tiffany and Jade backstage for an interview with Byron. He says, can you coexist?
Ah.
And then Tiffany says, as long as Jade stays out of my way, we won't have a problem. And Jade says I'm going to face Nia next week for number 1 contender match. So I'm just focused on Naomi tonight.
Yeah.
Tiffany's like, oh, really? Number 1 contender match, huh?
Yeah.
She didn't say that. That was just her body language.
It was like, yeah. Fun match. Really good stuff here.
Yeah, it was a good
and
match.
like you said, Jade. So Jade, let's see here. Nia hits an elbow drop and a senton to Jade. Nia covers Jade, but Tiffany hits a swanton to break that up. Naomi and Tiffany fight. Nia charges in, squashes Naomi and Tiffany. She kicks him out of the ring and squashes Jade. She goes for an annihilator, but Jade gets up to her feet and then power bombs Nia from the top there and then covers and gets the win. Jade then grabs the belt, puts it on her shoulders, and it just fits. It fits. But we'll probably have to wait for a little bit longer for that. And then she starts to give the title to Stratton, and she's like, this is going to be mine. And then Naomi attacks Jade, hits a neat defeat, raises the title, steps over Jade as the show goes off the air. So that was your main event segment there.
Yep, that was a solid main event.
It was. So, yeah, I feel like you're probably on the right path here, man. I think Naomi's probably going to screw over Jade on SmackDown, on SmackDown Backlash. Wait, what do they call it? WrestleMania SmackDown? Backlash SmackDown.
Backlash SmackDown, yeah.
On Backlash SmackDown, yeah.
Yeah. That'll supposed to be there next week, too.
That'll be an interesting one, man. You can tell Jade's really picking up the in-ring stuff. Nia, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Let's go to the beginning of the show. So we see, it's customary, people arriving at the building, and then Damian Priest arrives. And then Jacob Fatu tries to attack. Security holds him back. LA Knight walks by because he's got a promo to open the show. So he comes to the ring, of course does. Let me talk to you. Yeah, 1 week ago I stepped in this ring. Yeah, I said I want to rematch for my U.S. title. Instead, what did I get? No, I got a number 1 contenders match. I would say, if nothing else, I deserve my rematch, but came in did what I had to do, but didn't go my way. Let's do some math.
All right, just hold on. These two dudes talked for fucking ever.
And it just all led to a match that was supposed to be the main event initially happening right now.
So, because we don't have to go through all this. Look, here's the thing about these two guys, LA Knight and Damian Priest. You know, sometimes people can go out there and drop a promo, and I'm like, oh, man, I got to sit here for fucking ever and listen to this promo here. If I really like the people, I'm fine with it, even if the promo is going to be meandering as hell.
Yeah.
And LA Knight and Damian Priest, I both really like these guys. And they make the case, hey, we're both losers. We're both trying to get back on track. But Damian, you kind of screwed me over last week. And Damian's like, listen, we got no problem. But if you wanted to be a problem, we could be a problem. And LA Knight's like, you being a problem makes it a problem.
Well, and also Damian Priest is like, you wouldn't be in this situation if you hadn't lost your title at WrestleMania.
But he did, and he's trying to get, that's what LA Knight's point. I'm trying to get it back, and I'm trying to do it the right way. You're just in my business. So LA Knight's definitely in the right here, right?
Yeah, definitely, 1,000%. 1,000% anyways. It's supposed to be the main event. Match happens right away. And guess what? Another DQ situation because Solo interferes.
Yeah, it's like, who's going to be the loser of the losers? We're not going to know yet.
Well, at this point right now, it's LA Knight because he lost this. because Damian Priest wins via DQ because Knight has the advantage. Priest has the advantage. His flatliner on the apron, rolls LA Knight into the ring, and then Solo comes out and attacks Damian Priest. So ref throws the match out. Priest wins by DQ. So Solo's taking out Priest, heads in the ring, starts beating up LA Knight, calls for the spike, but then Priest gets on the apron, punches Solo, and then Knight hits him with the BFT. And then they look at each other, and Priest is like, all right, we're going to do this. They clear off the announce table. And then Priest is looking for a South of Heaven through the announce table, but Jacob Fatu runs down. Knight sidesteps him. So Fatu takes out Priest and then hits a Samoan drop on LA Knight on the announce desk. He hits a hip attack on Priest against the barricade, and then he grabs his title, poses on the steps. Just looking like an absolute superstar.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he definitely does. He definitely does.
And so later on, Jacob and Solo are backstage with Aldis. And Aldis says 2 weeks in a row, 2 matches have been thrown out because of you, Jacob. Because of you, talking to Solo, and says, Jacob, you aren't innocent. And Solo says, you can't pin last week on us. Priest caused the DQ. And for Jacob, everyone better stay out of his way. And Aldis says, warning received. Well, Jacob will be defending the title at Backlash against Damian Priest and LA Knight in triple threat. And Solo's like, hold on. Drew won the number 1 contenders match last week. Jacob should be fighting Drew. And Aldis says, you're right. So let's forget the triple threat. We're going to make it a fatal 4-way with Drew in there now as well. Jacob takes a beat to be upset, and then he's unfazed. He says, keep it 100. Line everyone up. I'll dog walk their ass. I'm all gas, no brakes.
Nah, I mean.
And so he leaves. And Solo says, Aldis, you keep trying to screw over Jacob. And Aldis says, no, Solo. That's you.
He's got him.
Yep.
He's got him pinned down, man. He knows. Oh,
he knows the deal.
Who says Drew won it, so you should face like the scariest dude in the company, Drew McIntyre?
I know.
Solo cracks me up in this, though. He
Yeah.
really does. Like his little facial, they're great. He's such, like, sadly, he'll make a better manager than he will a wrestler. Because, like, all of his little machinations, and I know he is trying to screw Jacob, but, you know, him saying, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Drew won the match. Like, it's just, he's a naturally funny, charismatic guy.
He is.
Who they stripped all that away from during his time as, like, a wrestler, as, like, the enforcer of the Bloodline.
Yeah.
So it was funny that one time he showed up and he had the tickets, and it's like, oh, shit, there's a little bit of personality.
Yeah.
They need to run with that with him.
Absolutely. 1,000%.
Because it can really work.
Personality.
Yeah. We had Alistair Black making his in-ring return against The Miz. We had a replay of his debut last week, followed by buddies, Miz and Mello backstage. They're all kind of hyping each other up. He said, Mello says, me and Dre, the Andre necklace, will be here for your support. And Miz says, you know what? I outlasted legends, flavors of the month, and the greatest of all time. You target them. You target the Miz. Everybody talked. He says, he didn't knock me out. He woke me up. I'm going to remind everybody who I am. There's a reason I lasted 20 years in a company where he only lasted 5. Hit my music. This match goes about 5 minutes, and Miz eats a black mass. It was maybe a little bit longer than that.
It was.
Probably
should be
shouldn't
7 minutes.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know what it is, but Alistair seems to. In WWE, he wrestles a quicker pace than he did in AEW.
Buddy, I can't explain it either, but when you see this guy with his entrance and the light, the production, there is simply something about WWE producing up somebody that makes them look younger, better, more cinematic. It's just that production works. It just works.
But like literally, like the pace of this match was faster than just about any match he had in AEW.
You're right. And, you know, I saw so many takes on Twitter during his last days in AEW, and people were like, boy, he's really lost a step. He's really not. And so you got to wonder, and there's no answer for that. Look, I don't know the guy. Was it a motivation thing or lack thereof? Was it, hey, I got to make sure to come out the gate hot here. I'm inspired now. I don't know what it is.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I'm not going to claim that he was phoning it in AEW.
No.
Certainly, there was some measure of discontent at some point in that company.
Yeah.
But I would never suggest that somebody is intentionally like slowing it down because they're not happy. Although I'm sure that's happened. But regardless, it's good to have him back in WWE because, yeah, he seems quicker, sharper, more into it. So, yeah. And he did the thing where he puts the foot under the chin. No, actually, in this case, he did that, and I think he got countered because in this case, he just did the quick one out of nowhere to get the win.
Yeah. Yeah, he kicks out a roll-up and hits the black mass to get the win.
Yeah.
Mello goes and checks on Miz, and then we get a stare down between Alistair and Mello. So definitely seem like we're getting that in the near future.
Yeah. Hard to think that Mello's going to come away with a win in this particular feud. Because it's like, okay, maybe if they do like a series, Mello can get one in, especially if like the Miz, and it helps him.
Yeah.
And then Mello can be like, dude, don't help me. I don't want that. I want to, win this straight up. And then he loses. I don't know how you do that because Alistair coming in is hot and Mello might be in that Dolph territory already, man. I don't know.
So, top of the third hour, Randy Orton comes to the ring and talks a lot. He says, for 20 years, I've known the real John Cena, arrogant, selfish, entitled. He talks about price gouging his customers, raising the price of his merch. And pretty much this says you're the latest legend that I gotta put an end to. Let me hit you with the 3 most dangerous letters: sports, entertainment, RKO. There's nothing really new here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how this match is gonna go down. What's your gut tell you about how this is going to go down on Saturday, man?
Another reason they might only have 5 matches is they might keep Gunther Pat short so they can give us 45 minutes of Orton and Cena with a bunch of headlocks.
That's it? Only 45 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
But if 38 of them are headlocks, it's going to feel like 2 hours.
I saw an article today talking about the current state of pop culture and how many critics are saying that the avant-garde is dead. Maybe not. Maybe it's just transferred over to John Cena in the WWE.
Yeah, that could be. That could be.
We're going to get, 55-minute match, 1 static camera angle.
With just them exchanging headlocks the entire time, right?
Yeah. He's going to ruin pro wrestling. So later on backstage, R-Truth bumps into Orton, says, you got no chance at Backlash. My childhood hero is going to beat Randy Orton. And Orton says, why would you say that? And he gets Orton heads out. Oh, Jimmy Uso comes in. And so Orton leaves. He's angry. And Jimmy says, you keep talking like that. He's going to kick the head off your shoulders, talking about Orton. And Truth says, I'm not playing around. Cena told me that. What else he told me is that he was the last real champ. He wouldn't lie to me. So maybe next week we'll get Randy Orton versus R-Truth. I don't know. Ooh, maybe. Go ahead.
Doesn't say Santos seemed like he was really Ray Phoenix's number 1 fan.
Yeah.
Now he's super disappointed in him.
Yeah. Well, this is a hell of a match, though. So Phoenix is backstage with Santos. He's like, hey, I watched your match at Mania. What I saw was the epitome of disappointment. You lost the biggest match of your life, but embarrassed Lucha Libre by losing to El Grande Americano. Ray picked you, and you blew it. He says, now the self-appointed greatest luchador of all time is out the picture, and hopefully forever, someone needs to take his place, and that's always been me, Santos Escobar. So if you know what's best, listen closely. And Phoenix says, caliente, stay out of my business. There's only one greatest luchador in the world, and it's not your brother. But if you have a problem, I will see you in the ring tonight. Or he said, it's not you, brother. Sorry, not your brother.
Yeah.
It's not you, brother. And we had that match. It was awesome.
Santos is super jacked now, too.
Yeah, dude. He's got muscle.
Yeah, he's super
Ray
jacked.
Phoenix got the win with a top rope Meteora, too. That shit looked like a shoot.
Yeah.
2 knees on that dude's face from up top. That shit was crazy. This is a really fun match, though. And Ray Phoenix gets the win. So backstage, Andrade comes up. I'm sorry, Los Garces and Santos are backstage. Santos is like, the one time I needed you guys, where were you? And he's like, what's your problem? Santos, I know you don't care about Los Garza. He says, I liked you, but you're all about respect and honor and legacy. You don't have those things. And then Santos and Angel walk off. And Berto stays behind, and Santos is like, come on, let's go. I said let's go. So
Yeah.
discord amongst Legado
Yeah.
del Fantasma.
And then at one point when Andrade was talking, Angel started kind of laughing.
Yeah, he was like, "What's so funny?"
Yeah.
Pendejo.
We had Fraxium back in action. So we see a replay of their debut last week. Byron has an interview with them. Asks what's next. Frazier says, we flipped the NXT tag division upside down. That's what we're going to do here. Axiom says, we're excited to be here, and SmackDown has the best tag division in the world, so we're ready to compete. Pretty deadly walk up. Talk some crap and say opportunities are earned and not given, and we know how good you are, but we know how good we are too. And they walk away so we get a match. Between the two, of course, Fraxium wins.
Mm-hmm.
Solid bout, Spanish Fly, Phoenix Splash combo on Kit Wilson. Fraxium gets the W.
Yeah, it seems like they're not necessarily continuing on their little story from NXT. Seems like right now, anyways, they're just happy to be on SmackDown. But it'll be interesting to see if they try to pick up that thread after they're a little bit more, deep into the division, deep into their time on SmackDown.
I would hope so. I would hope so. So we're backstage. B-Fab and Michin are talking to Aldis. They're asking for a TLC, a match of their own, to go after the tag titles against Liv and Raquel. Secret Hervis walk up with Chelsea. And Chelsea's, she's got the...
she looks like a widow.
A widow, yeah. And she says last week she was robbed. There was collusion. Nicholas, don't make me take you to the Supreme Court. And he says, I have a show to run, so good luck with all that. And she asks for a recount, and Aldis says, you mean rematch? That's not going to happen tonight because Zelina's got a match against Piper. And then is this where Chelsea's like, oh, and she faints.
She faints.
And Secret Hervis
Yeah, it's
catch
pretty
her.
great.
Yeah,
it's pretty great. Yeah. So they have that match, Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega, and Chelsea Green accidentally costs Piper Niven this match. So Vega tries for a code red. Piper blocks it, hits a headbutt instead. Piper hits a powerbomb attempt. Vega hits a Hurricane Rana into the ropes. Goes for a 619, but then Chelsea Green gets up on the apron. Vega and her argue. Piper runs in, but Vega moves and then gets a roll up on Piper for the win. So Chelsea Green didn't really help her Secret Hervis out very much.
No.
So, but was it on purpose or not? We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
So, yeah, good stuff there. And that's your SmackDown review. All right, so Collision. Pretty interesting episode this week of Collision, right, Larson?
I didn't watch. I know you didn't watch
die.
You were out living your best life on the deck of the Enterprise.
Yeah. It was amazing. Some people talk about moments where they find God in their lives. This was similar to that.
All right.
I found my new purpose, and that is to somehow travel to a future where Star Trek is real and then actually live there. I knew this wasn't real, though, because you walk into this thing and then you look up and there's a big gaping hole where there's supposed to be like sick bay ceiling, and it's just like normal stuff you'd see in like a warehouse.
Yeah. So
this
the illusion was kind of ruined a little bit for you there.
This was clearly a set.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a bummer to see. That being said,
would you expect them to have an operating spacecraft?
I was told this was the actual Enterprise D.
Well, I think you were probably told it was the actual bridge of the Enterprise D.
So, joking aside, this was pretty awesome. Like, it was a Universal Fan Fest thing. And we all walk in, and you enter basically into a shuttle bay. And you look back, and you see the facade for the entrance there is actually like a shuttlecraft. Mm-hmm. And it is very immersive. There was like, it did not have like actual Star Trek ceilings. it was very much a set. And you've got this, and you walk in, and they've got like you're like the deal is you're on like basically a tour of the Enterprise D, which is in the museum. This is all from the Picard show, and so it's in the museum. But you're on the Enterprise D. You're in the shuttle bay, and they've got like the shuttle bay door. The giant door is open, right? And so you see like the planet or whatever, and then like this being shows up on the screen. It's just this blob of glowy stuff, and like the Enterprise D starts freaking out. Shit starts going wrong, and you got these cheesy actors They're Universal actors who are like dressed up. There's like an Andorian, a couple Vulcans. So they got like the makeup on and everything.
Yeah.
And they got some cloth Starfleet outfits, not like on the show where they're like nice and like, textured and stuff.
It's like Party City Spirit Halloween.
Yeah. And so like, you go into sick bay from the shuttle bay because they're like, okay, everybody get in here. You go into sick bay and there's like, it's all kind of like rope. There's like very thin rope, so you can't like go into the actual sick bay. But there's like an officer there, and they're like, oh man, these reading. They got a tricorder, and they're just reading this dialogue. And like the first time we went through, it was like a dude who was like in sick bay. And you could tell this guy's got like a background in theater because he was very like theatrical and big on all his movements. I feel like the lady that was the sick bay person on the second go through, maybe a bit more method, maybe a bit more, working a little smaller for camera, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So then they shepherd us into engineering, which is a really underwhelming version of engineering, a tiny warp core. Then they shuffle us over to the bridge, and that was actually really impressive. Like it's the actual set they used for the Picard show, and that was really impressive. But again, it was kind of roped off, so you can get like back behind everything, like where Worf used to be a tactical. But there's too many people in there, so if they open it up to everybody, they would just be flooding in to try to sit in the captain's chair.
Yeah.
But it was wildly fun. I got to link up with Jeff, and it was a good time.
That's
so
good.
I'm going to put in my application to Starfleet Academy here soon.
There you go. They
were like, God damn, you're
advance,
old.
huh?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, you want to answer some questions?
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
All right. Diehard Homer Greg Morris says, when Bronson and Jacob are main eventers, we need to remember Braun's work in putting them over as new monsters. Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah. Static G Medina says, what Foo Fighters song would you make as your wrestling entrance? Oh, it's My Hero. There goes my hero. And everybody would sing along with me.
Exhausted.
How does that one go?
Oh, wow. It's mostly just like loud, fuzzy guitar.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
It's actually
I'm not a
slower
big
song.
Foo Fighters guy.
Their first album is, their best one, I would think. I did see a drummer this weekend because we went to the concert on Friday who hit hard like Dave Grohl, but was playing really intricate stuff. It might be the best drummer I've ever seen live in person.
Oh, that's
amazing.
Cool. That's neat.
The drummer was amazing. Really creative. Fantastic. Time More here says, let's say you had your gimmick of ruining pro wrestling podcasts back in your machinima days. How would you ruin video game top 10 lists?
I think we did, didn't we?
I kind of feel like we did.
Did.
Should we plug this now, Steve? Let's talk
about. Yeah. So the predictions challenge is back. It's May. We got a new predictions challenge, which you can get in on, of course, by clicking join right here, youtube.com/Stephen Larson, or going to patreon.com/Stephen Larson and click on the Friendo Club setup. And I'm going to work on the hat today, but we've got the big prize. Yeah. And this is a little bit, it's different. This is a much different prize than the title that we did last time.
Yeah.
This is a real piece of Stephen Larson nostalgia.
Yeah.
It is part of our lore. This is the very first t-shirt that we ever had made. We never even put it on sale. We just did it for ourselves.
We made them to wear at E3 2011, the first E3 we covered, and we were going around, so we just made shirts for us to wear.
Yeah.
I think only one remains.
Yeah, I don't have mine anymore.
I have it right here.
Yeah.
And so whoever wins predictions this month will get this one-of-a-kind T-shirt. Doesn't exist anywhere else.
So basically, put it back up really quick.
Sure.
So it's like, sort of, I was going, because I designed this, I wanted to do like a zine look to it, and like we're kaiju. We're like giant monsters battling over a city. And it's I always really liked that design. That was really good. Cool.
It is.
I have no idea what happened to the actual design. So like, once that's gone, that design will be in the hands of whoever has it.
Very much a one-of-a-kind thing, and probably never reissue that. So
yeah. Like I literally don't have the art anymore, so we can't reissue.
You'd have to reconstitute it wholesale. It's a size extra large, if that has any bearing on anything.
So if you're smaller, you can wear it to bed. If you're like my size, you can just wear it straight up to a bar. If you're a larger person, then you can frame it perhaps.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of a collectible in terms of.
Yeah. You just have it. You can put it on eBay
Yeah.
for all I care. I don't care. You can do whatever you want with it. If you win the predictions challenge,
It's
which of
yours.
course will encompass both Backlash and AEW's Double or Nothing coming up. Probably also Saturday night's main event, I'd imagine.
Yeah, we can do that too. Saturday night's
okay.
main event, Double or Nothing, and then Backlash. Yeah.
Those 3 events right there.
Yeah.
There we go. So yeah. Let's see here. We didn't mention this. Nikyle asked, can the released WWE and NXT wrestlers still perform in TNA when their non-compete clauses expire?
I would imagine they could sign there. Yeah, I don't think anything would preclude them from going
Right
there.
now, they just have a partnership. So, I mean, I think a bigger question would be, could they compete in AAA, which I have no idea.
I suppose they could until, at the minimum, the acquisition is completed.
I would. Okay, so my guess on that would be AAA would probably have to get some sort of permission from WWE to do that, and I don't know if WWE would be like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead."
I don't know.
That is actually a question I do not know.
Yeah. Alex Foster here asks, who would be a surprising yet cool surprise to dethrone Cena? We all expect it to be Cody. If it's not Cody, either Jacob Fatu or Carmelo Hayes.
What's the question?
Who would be a surprising yet cool person to dethrone?
Oh, I mean, Fatu.
Yeah, Jacob
That'd
Fatu.
be surprising. Yeah. Do you think Stone Cold Steve Stamkos says, do you think the McAfee-Gunther match could be just a setup for the Goldberg retirement match? So I've heard this. I've heard other people ask this question.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Okay, well, if Goldberg shows up on the Pat McAfee show this week, then 1,000%.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's not like there's an easy path from one to the other.
No.
Is Goldberg in St. Louis? I think he's a Florida guy, isn't he?
I think he lives in Atlanta.
Oh, is he in Atlanta?
Maybe. Sir Damas the First says, due to the recent releases, could this happen more often between different companies? So, like, the going back years, the post-Mania releases have been fairly common.
Yeah.
I know, I think Tony Khan has said that he doesn't like releasing wrestlers. He may let their contracts expire, but obviously, I mean, he released Ricky Starks and Ray Phoenix from their deals. But you know, those were situations where the talent wanted to leave, not so much that he wanted to let them go.
Yeah.
But you know, so I would be pretty surprised, although I guess not shocked, at some point down the road, like AEW did, you know, release a dozen wrestlers simply because Tony Khan thinks they have too many people signed to contracts. It doesn't seem to be his MO at this point.
Yeah. I mean, anything's possible. So.
Anything's possible, though. Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right about that, though. I think WWE just has sort of like, because they have so much money, it's sort of like a blind, like, hey, let's just snap up as many people as we can. So it's kind of not surprising that they release people relatively often. Whereas AEW, yeah, I mean, they got a big roster, but, you know, usually they just kick people down to Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm. If they're not being used on Dynamite or Collision, yeah.
Yeah. John and Alistair Voice says, in a tag team match where you guys each pick a partner from your old Machinima days, who do you choose and who's going over? I know who I'm choosing.
Who are you choosing?
Hundar. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's a good choice. I'll go with Bruce
Brett.
Green.
Bruce Green? Oh, good choice.
No,
right
no.
there.
James Willems.
James. Oh, fuck. Damn it.
No, James. I'll go with James.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, boy. Who's going over? I don't know. Like, how about you and I just agree? We'll just step back and just let them do it. And then I don't know.
We'll just brawl ringside, and you know what happens in the ring happens in the ring. We'll just have like the worst ringside brawl imaginable.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Why are you doing headlocks in a ringside brawl?
Perfect. Let's see here.
CM Puxatani Phil says, if you could swap any two wrestlers' theme songs and it be an improvement, which themes would they be?
I don't know. I was gonna say, what if you give Alistair Black Braun Strowman's theme song? Braun! And he's like, why am I?
No,
why
what
do
if
I
you
have
give
this?
what if you give Alistair Grayson Waller's theme? Boom, boom, boom.
That would be an improvement. Yeah, yeah. Let's see here. MVPNTH831. I don't know how to say that. If Jay versus Logan had an exact stipulation added, what would be the best choice? He says, I think loser retires or a first blood match. Maybe an Inferno match, but Paul can't wear a shirt. Damn, he wants to see that guy burn. A stipulation added to Jay versus Logan? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, loser leaves town would be great.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I would
I
too.
don't think it's going to happen, though.
Let's see here. Vicious Mockery says Rollins is making a super heel faction. We can assume Becky joins, but he needs a tag team. Which tag team should join?
You know, man, I was thinking this. That's such a waste that they didn't put Fraxium with his group. Because the little side conversations, if they continued that thing where like Axiom just went along with Nathan Frazier, he's like, no, trust me, this is going to be great for our career.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know, man, this isn't good. That could have been a really interesting
I know,
subplot.
that could be really good. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, at least not quite yet.
Nope. How about this? Dave Matushek, I love this question. He says, considering that Darby Allin broke the kickflip world record during his Everest climb, would it ever be possible to skateboard in the snow?
You know, if it's snow that kind of melted a little bit and then froze back over, so it's pretty hard, maybe.
If it's like a really, really thin layer of snow on top of impacted ice, then
maybe.
I think probably.
It's possible. Fresh powder, absolutely not. No, you couldn't skateboard on fresh snow.
Physics don't make sense there.
No,
You
get
just
stuck.
sink into it.
It's like you're trying to skateboard in mud, you know?
Right,
Not
or
exactly a
quicksand.
one-to-one analogy, but similar.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, Josh M. asks, why can't either major wrestling company make decent merch?
Oh, some of it's fine. Some of it's good. They both
Most
have
of
ups
it's
and
not.
downs. They both have ups and downs. I mean, look, the thing about WWE right now is that their in-house shit is not great.
Their stuff they do in their partnership deals is generally way better.
Which I feel like is kind of like maybe where they're headed in general. Like, yeah. Boy, even Alistair's in-house stuff is kind of dropped off. I mean, it's sort of older stuff. I mean, so much of WWE stuff these days is like they're pushing their licensed stuff. So, I don't know. But even their in-house stuff, like I'm looking, there's like a spring clearance sale. And there's like a Razor Ramon shirt that's pretty sharp. Here's the thing. There's so much of it.
That's the thing. I think it's they focus so much more on quantity. Like everybody's got to have a couple shirts, like upon debut, and then they just keep adding and adding and adding. The same thing in AEW. Like everybody's got a ton of shirts, so I think they focus more on quantity as opposed to, hey, let's put together like 3 really awesome shirts here.
I will say this about AEW is that I do like that one of their recent initiatives was hire like actual sort of fan designers. And let them run wild. And
Yeah,
some
that's
of
cool.
those turned out really, really well. I'm looking at their, like, okay, this is great. This is actually really, this is really fun. I'm going to put the link here in the, at the bottom of the notes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's there now. It's a Will Ospreay Krispy Kreme homage shirt. And I'm sorry, but it's fucking awesome. like this really works, man. I think this is really great. Did you get the link? Is it there?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
copy and pasting it right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, see that's fine.
Right? That's really well done. And then, but next to it, like if you go to the actual shop, you've got this horrendous, and look, I like Adam Cole. I think he's great. But like there's like an Adam Cole boom shirt. It's like a photo with him holding the TNT title. I don't know who's ever going to wear that. I mean, you know, maybe Adam Cole's mom or something. But like, I don't know what's going on there. What is this? The Outrunners. Oh, this is like a cool shirt. So yeah, I mean,
It's like a NASCAR shirt.
Yeah. It's
What
ups
about
and
this-
downs.
What about this Paragon one?
Not so much. No. The blue one?
Yeah.
That's horrific.
Oh, that is awful.
That is really bad. It looks like Papa Non. Where's the G, dude? Oh, I see. I see the top of the G is blending in, but like it's just
It's not good.
I mean, this might be better if the blue was black.
No, it's just a bad design, Steve.
It's not good, man. Looks like Papa Non.
No.
So I don't know about all that. Like the problem is Adam Cole's arm is over the R thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of covering it. So it looks like maybe Papa Gon or Papa Non. Because the G is kind of hidden too. The top of the G, the hook of the G is sort of hidden.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I can look at this shit all day. Maybe I'll do that for Wrestle Juice later.
There you go.
But WWE has a lot of stuff, and if you really sift through it, hey, there's some cool shit there. AEW, you can just look at it and be like, it's like a 50-50. Like some of it's really good. Like who doesn't want a Krispy Kreme Will Ospreay shirt? That's great.
Sure. Yeah.
That's great. Oh man. Anyways, that's pretty much all the questions I have here. There's a lot of like CKY Halo, obviously a fan of CKY.
Yeah.
Says, who do you think will go to TNA after being released? I don't know, man. I think that there's a bunch of names there in the women's bit, like Dakota Kai and Shayna Baszler. I can see them going to AEW pretty easily and fit in great there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But beyond that, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know who's going to go where, who would want to go where. The relationship between WWE and TNA might turn some of those wrestlers off, but at the same time, like, who wouldn't want a payday, you know?
Yeah.
And be on TV still, even if it's on TNA.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know either.
Anyways,
I don't know.
That's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow for our Monday Night Raw review, so be sure to join us for that live. Until next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.